What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Luke Cage, Season 2, Episode 10, The Main Ingredient. So, another day, still not feeling well, slowly getting better, but still kind of, not able to do much. So, hey, more days to get caught up on shows. So, about, let's see, so three more episodes left after this one, and it kind of feels like they're setting up another rematch between Luke Cage and Bushmaster because he's not even in this one, which means he's still recuperating from their last fight. Probably still getting help from Tilda. I had a thought that kind of popped into my head after I watched the last episode because whenever he went to Tilda for the stuff, I'm thinking to myself, well, why is she helping him? And I didn't say this, I don't think. But I was kind of wondering why she would bother helping him when he just tried to kill all of them. But then I remember the conversation that happened between Tilda and Mariah, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, yeah, that actually kind of makes sense why she would want to help the guy that wants to kill Mariah. Because honestly, I think she's sort of done with Mariah now, especially after what was said. So, yeah, they're not in this episode at all, which means they're probably doing something with him trying to get his strength back or whatever. But what's very interesting about this one is Danny Rand shows up. Pretty interesting episode when it comes to that. I like some of the conversations that he and Luke had about finding Luke's center. It's a topic that has rarely been discussed this season, but has been so prominent in that, Luke, his anger is getting the best of him. And we kind of touched on it a little bit when Claire was here, then she left, and we haven't really talked about it since then. So now Danny comes in and he sort of brings it back up and sort of helps him get past it a little bit. It was interesting in that respect, and I thought they did a good job handling that. I thought Danny in this one, it seems like he has grown. Like he seems a lot more social. Like he actually has been living in the world, which he has been. So it's good to see. But it definitely was a little awkward when he comes in and starts talking like, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? After we saw him like in the first season and even in the Defenders, like talking, and he still has those moments where he gets into those speeches, where he's talking very much about Chi and Kun Lun says and Xiao Li says and all of that stuff. He still has those moments where he sounds like Confucius, but it did sound like he was a bit more human in this episode, which was nice. And I don't know. I like the camaraderie between the two. The fight that they have in the warehouse was pretty awesome. When uh, they did the patty cake, that was pretty cool. So I don't know. I enjoy seeing these two together. It really does feel like a man of the streets and a guy who's completely out of touch with the world. It feels like that should be a good kind of partnering, and they do a very good job. They take advantage of it. So, very impressed with that part of it. As far as the rest of the episode, we do see Mariah kind of trying to get back at Bushmaster, trying to gain the upper hand, which ultimately she can never get to him because he's off somewhere recuperating. But they do manage to get to his, I guess, family's business and kill pretty much everyone that was close to him. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting that now the shoe is on the other foot, where Bushmaster was trying to kill Mariah and anyone close to her. Now it's the opposite, where Mariah is killing everyone close to him. And I'm sure that's probably going to come back. And I do like the line that Bushmaster's uncle said, where he said, if you're trying to seek vengeance, you best dig two graves. And that's pretty much how I kind of feel. I feel like Mariah's gone so far over the deep end at this point. It almost feels like this is probably the end for her. And honestly, I feel like Bushmaster's probably going to die, so I could see both of them going out in a blaze of glory. Mariah maybe taking him down and herself in the process because she's just so obsessed with destroying him. So I don't know. I'm very interested to see where it's going to go. It's still got 3 episodes, so there's a lot of story still to cover. But I do like where it's going. I like all the build up. We do see Nandi in this one get taken down. The cop that sold everybody out to Bushmaster, and we do see that she had a little bit of a reason. I asked about it. I was like, why would she do this? It seemed like maybe she was turning a corner, but she does say, you were about to give Mariah an immunity deal, and how could you do that? She killed, what's his name, Rittenhouse, I think, is Rittenhauser. I don't remember his name, Tommy. And she's upset about that fact, and I do like the fact that they gave her an actual reason besides just, oh, because they were offering money. She actually did have a reason because she didn't want Mariah to get the immunity deal. She wanted to see her taken down. And so even though it meant going to a guy like Bushmaster, in her mind she thinks if it means Mariah dies, I'm okay with that. So yeah, they at least made up for that once again, kind of with Claire. I was wondering about the whole going to his dad thing. They gave her a reason. Same thing here. I was wondering why would she go to Bushmaster, and then they gave her a reason. So far this season has done a very good job of making everything sort of make sense. And that's something that I can't say for all the shows that I watch. Sometimes character decisions don't make a lot of sense, and they'll try to give it a reason, but those reasons don't always make sense. I'm glad this show so far, it feels like every decision that's been made has made sense. It seems like something the character would do, and I really appreciate that. I'm glad that they've done that with all of them so far. So, yeah, that's about it for this episode. Now, on to the next one. See you there in a sec. And now, episode 11, The Creators. So, things are definitely taking an interesting turn. I gotta say, I had an idea of where this season was going. I had an idea of what to expect as we got closer to the end. But now that we're here, I don't know. Like, I truly am not entirely sure where this is going. So, yeah, I'm glad for that. I'm glad the fact that it's not very predictable. I'm glad that we're not really going down exactly the path that I was expecting. Because it makes things more interesting. It makes it more exciting when you can't predict what's going to come next. So, first of all, I do want to talk about the backstory, the flashbacks, because I really like how they handled it. Even though we knew what happened, we kind of got to see it firsthand. We kind of got to experience it from the point of view of Bushmaster, which I really liked. I'm liking the fact that we're getting to know a little bit, I guess, more from his point of view and what was going on around him at the time. Because he did tell the story. He told the story about the Molotov grenade coming in, burning down the house, how his mother helped him out and told him to run, and he did. But to actually get to see it and then also see what happened after, see him getting shot by one of the people that, I guess, blamed his family for killing Buggy. All of that was very interesting, and we got to see him getting the nightshade in him for the first time at the same time that we see Tilda giving him the nightshade now. And we kind of see how it works. At first I thought it was just healing his wounds, but it actually, regenerates and gets everything out of his body. Like, the shrapnel from the grenade got all that out. The bullets that he took got both of those out. So I don't know. I like getting to see that in comparison with how things are going presently. But we do see him find out about, everything that happened with Mariah. And I'll be honest, up until near the end of this episode, I kind of wondered if it was going to turn into mainly Mariah as the bad guy. And she would, be the final two episodes trying to take her out. Maybe even Bushmaster realizing that he needs to work with Luke to take her down. But we didn't really get that. Because at the time, I'm thinking she's gone off the deep end, and now it just seems like she's completely crazy. People are turning against her. She's even losing her mind and talking to her uncle and her grandmother. Or was it a grandmother or was it her mother? I don't remember. But yeah, getting to see all of that, it's pretty interesting to see how far she's gone down this kind of insane rabbit hole. But at the end, where things sort of went back for me, and I wasn't really sure what to expect, one, we get to see Luke and Bushmaster meeting because Luke is helping Bushmaster's aunt go see his uncle's body. So they meet there and they have a little exchange that sort of confirms the fact that Bushmaster's going after Mariah. Luke is not going to let them kill each other because he's the quote-unquote good guy, as he says. So he's going to make sure they don't do that. On top of that, we also see that Shades has apparently turned his back on Mariah and is going to turn her in, which kind of negates the thought of, oh yeah, this is going to come down to Mariah being the bad guy at the end. It kind of feels like she's going to be maybe either running from the cops or, I don't know, trying to take Shades out in the I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen, but it feels like it's setting up for what I was thinking it was going to be more midway through the season, which is Mariah and Bushmaster going after each other, with Luke trying to stop them from taking innocent people in the process. So I don't know. I'm curious to see, I guess, what the final climactic battle is going to be. I'm curious to see who's going to come out the victor, who's going to come out dead in the end, because it kind of feels like Mariah is at the point of either she's going to end up in jail for the rest of her life or she's going to die, just trying to fight for her life. So yeah, I'm liking where it's going. I love the verbal exchange between Mariah and Shades in her office. The fact that she was practically taunting him at the end. He had a chance to kill her, but he's just like, you know what? It's not even worth killing you. It's not worth the effort. And then decides to turn himself in so he can help them take down Mariah, because that's how far she's gone, where he even feels like I can't trust her anymore because she's not the same person. We also see Tilda seeing everything that happened, and kind of like I was saying in the last episode, she sort of sees the fault of her family. And I almost kind of wondered if she was going to be the one to kill Mariah when she walked in after Shades had left, just because she's so done with the Stokes and everything that they've done and her side of that side of the family. I think she just wants to be done with it all. And so I kind of wondered if maybe she would take out Mariah to just be like, all right, she's done, she's dead, now the Stokes name is no more. But she didn't. So I also kind of wonder if maybe she got what Mariah said on tape, like, oh, I lit the day a match. I kind of wonder if maybe she got that on tape and is going to take that to the police as well. And so it's just going to be a ton of information that not even Donovan can overlook. And I wonder if maybe she's going, because she realizes she's caught, if it's going to be kind of a last stand type of thing where she just tries to go on a rampage and does something crazy to try to stay away from the police while Bushmaster's coming after her as well. And then Luke is just trying to stop, I guess, carnage from happening. So, I don't know. I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to seeing what the rest of the season has. But I believe that's about it for this episode. So now on to the next one. See you there in a sec. On to episode 12, Can't Front on Me, and things finally sort of came to a head in this episode, but it's not quite over yet, and I swear Luke Cage is like the most self-aware character in the entire Marvel universe. Between the one, okay, well, Deadpool's obviously more self-aware, but the one line he had where it's like, man, I can't be the sidekick, it's my show. You got that line, you got the one, what was it? It was in the last episode. Oh, yeah, when he's talking to Bushmaster, he's like, I guess I'm the good guy here. He's aware that he is playing a hero in a show, and then in this last one, right at the end, he's talking about, oh, it's a win. He's like, nope, it ain't over yet. I swear he knows there's one more episode. I swear it. I mean, he seems like he just knows everything, that he's in a Netflix show, and that there are 13 episodes, and this is episode 12, and I don't know. Maybe it's just all in my mind, but I can almost positively say that he is self-aware and knows he's a character in a show. But, with that being said, a lot of good stuff in this episode. We got a lot of stuff that sort of pretty much comes to a climax in this one. You've got Bushmaster trying to take down Mariah. Tilda decides to help out by giving him like this extra strong shot, which apparently is going to weaken him after it wears off, I suppose. I'm not entirely sure how the nightshade wears off in the first place. Because he gets the nightshade, and they keep talking about how it's killing him, but they never really say if it's just wearing off or it's whenever he gets hurt, it causes him to lose more of himself, or whenever he has to get injected with more of it to heal himself, that's when it starts to take more of his life away. I don't know exactly how it works. They still haven't really clarified that, and I think they've tried to, because they keep asking what's the cost. So I think they're trying to imply that whenever he gets injected with the nightshade, or whenever he, gets the nightshade put into him, that it heals all of his wounds and he regenerates, but it takes part of his life. But would that happen anyway? Like, even if he didn't take more nightshade, would that still take away his life slowly? How long does he have these super strength abilities? Like, only whenever he gets cut, I guess, or whenever he gets hurt, that's when he needs to take more nightshade? I don't know. There are a lot of questions that I think they've answered, but they have sort of left up in the wind a little bit. So a little disappointed with that, but not too much. But yeah, so Tilda gives him this stuff that apparently is going to make him twice as strong, but it's going to take a lot of his energy away, pretty much. And she also tells him don't take it all at one time, which of course he does, because why else would you tell somebody not to do something in a show if they're going to do it? Don't touch the big red button. Hey, you remember that big red button I told you not to press earlier? Yeah, press it. Every time. Every time they say don't do something, at some point it's going to happen, and we're going to find out why. Why were you not supposed to do that? Oh, you inject yourself with the whole thing. This is why not, because you're crazy and you're not rational, or anyway. But But yeah, so I assume he's either going to go on a rampage this last episode or he's going to die off. I'm not entirely sure what to expect. Honestly, I don't know what to expect out of this last episode because they're bringing Mariah in. Shades is pretty much given her up entirely. I love the line where Misty's talking to him. She's like, I need the gun. And he's like, I've given you everything. And I just, once again, the self-aware nature of some of these characters, I just wanted him to follow up that line with, I've given you everything. Literally, I've recapped season 1 and 2. Like, what else could I give you? I don't know. In my mind, that's what was going through. But yeah, so he gives them everything. Even his lawyer, I thought was really funny. She even gets up and leaves because she's like, "You are a piece of garbage." Like, yeah, pretty much. But it was weird though because while he feels like Mariah's gone too far, when he's talking to them, he's got like this almost psychopathic smile on the whole time, like he's enjoying telling them this whole story. But yet, because Mariah went and killed innocents, she's gone too far. Some of the people you killed were not. I mean, obviously some of them were innocent, but I don't know if everyone that he's killed has been innocent, and it seems like he still enjoys the killing. So I don't know, it just seems weird that he has a conscience even though he seems like he's a psychopath. I don't know. But it is interesting to see him turn on her, put a wire on, which I didn't think they'd actually wire him up. I just expected him to like go get the gun and get it for them. But to actually have a wire on, I'm like, yeah, Mariah's going to figure that out, which she does. But then, the final battle between Luke and Misty and Shades versus Bushmaster was pretty sweet. First we have Shades try to take him out with a bullet. That doesn't happen. So then Luke steps in, then he's knocking him back. Misty tries to jump in with a double team. He's knocking her back. And so they're just fighting around the room. And I just love that. I love whenever you got this one character that's just super strong and is able to beat all of the other characters down, but they all team up to take him down. It's a lot of fun. And ultimately they get to this point where Luke has him in a headlock and has a chance to kill him. Mariah's telling him to kill him, and he doesn't. Because he's not controlled by Mariah, and I think we already knew that. So I'm not entirely sure why they tried to play it up like, oh guys, he might kill him, he might do it, oh, Mariah's in his head, he might... No, he clearly doesn't trust Mariah, he wants to stop her, but because he wants to take Bushmaster down, and because he wants to make sure nobody gets hurt, that's also why he's going to do it. Not because of her, but because of the other people in Harlem. So the thought of her actually saying, hey, do it, and him doing it just wouldn't have made any sense. And it wasn't really that suspenseful because I knew he wasn't going to. So it seemed like a little bit of a wasted scene. But yeah, so at the end, Mariah's captured, Bushmaster's in the wind. Probably a little bit crazed in the mind because he took all of that one shot that Tilda told him not to. Don't know what's going to happen with Tilda, and I forget the name of the guy that's been helping Bushmaster this whole time, but they're still out in the wind as well. I don't know if Tilda, she had a scene where she was at Cornell's grave. I don't know if that means that she has officially accepted, I'm a Stokes, I'm a bad guy, or if she just wants the Stokes name out of the way because she's done with it, and she knows that's who she is, but she wants to just get rid of it entirely. I'm not entirely sure what the whole thing at the grave with her was, but we did get to see her relationship with Cornell and how she felt about him as a cousin, so that was a pretty nice scene. All that being said, that's it for this one, so on to the last one. See you there in just a second. And finally, episode 13, They Reminisce Over You. So not exactly what I was expecting for the final episode. It didn't really have anything climactic. It didn't really have like a final big fight or anything, but it still had some pretty interesting stuff going on. Basically, I would look at the last episode as more the climax where the big fight happens, Bushmaster tries to kill Mariah, all that stuff. And then this is kind of the aftermath. This is what happens after. This is how the story ends for this season. And I don't know, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it, to be perfectly honest. I mean, there are parts of it I definitely really enjoyed. I feel like where they're taking this story is very interesting, and the fact that Luke has sort of felt like he has to take over from Mariah and be the head of Harlem in such a way that it almost makes him seem like a crime boss is pretty interesting. And you can see the people around Luke that are close to him are concerned for him, of course. The fact that Sugar is now his closest friend and he's talking to this Ben Donovan guy a lot, it is pretty concerning that he's almost turning down this life, or turning towards a life of crime. and almost taking over for the Stokes and being the head of Harlem. So I don't know. I'm curious. I'm curious to see where this is going. I'm curious to see if they're going to take this all the way and truly make him into a bad guy, I guess. But I don't know. I mean, I'm liking it. I'm liking the fact that they're taking it in such a different path than I was expecting. But there are some things that I did call. I mean, it was pretty obvious. First of all, seeing Tilda, she starts making this mixture, and then she goes in to see Mariah, and I'm thinking, okay, so clearly she's gonna go in to kill her like I was expecting. And sure enough, there was a moment at the end where she kisses her, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, there's something with the lipstick, right? Because there's no other reason. And even Mariah afterwards, she's like, she called me mother. She didn't mean a word of what she just said. I'm like, okay, so clearly there's something on the lipstick, because there's no other reason why she would kiss her, especially on the mouth, if she didn't mean any of what she just said. And so, sure enough, it takes a little while, but eventually Mariah does collapse while she's talking to Luke, and she realizes that it was Tilda that did it. And I do also find it interesting that after that visit, she saw enough that Tilda couldn't be trusted to where she changed her will. Tilda got the synthesizer, but Luke ends up with the club. I don't know. I like the fact that Mariah kind of went out in that manner. And seeing she was such a clever villain, she was somebody who was very, very smart. And so to see the fact that her daughter was trying to betray her, she saw through that and then ended up betraying her daughter in the end. So I don't know. I thought it was a good way for her to go out. I will say it was kind of weird the way Bushmaster's story ended, because honestly thought this episode he goes back to Tilda, and Tilda even lies to, what's her name? Lies to Misty about it, because Misty comes in, she's like, oh no, I don't know where he is at all, and of course she's hiding him in the back. But she does tell them where to get more of the stuff that will, I guess, cure him of what's going on. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so they're trying to, I guess, make it to where he gets better and then he's going to attack the prison and try to take down Mariah. But in all honesty, I mean, they take him away and they get Anansi's body or his ashes or whatever to take with them back to Jamaica. And so they just kind of leave. And I don't know. It just seemed kind of weird that that's how his story ends, with him going back to Jamaica, and that's the last we see of him. I kind of expected something a bit more epic, I guess, for how great a villain and how intimidating a villain he was this entire season. So I don't know, I guess I was expecting a little bit more for him. But yeah, aside from that, the rest of it's very interesting. I see what they're trying to do at the end. They're trying to make it seem like, oh, look how bad he is, look how much he's turned. I don't know how much of that is true, though. Like I said, I don't know how far they're going to take this. I will say, anytime your hero makes a Trump quote in a superhero show, especially because of how liberal Hollywood is, typically that's them trying to be clever, like, oh, look, he's saying he's going to make Harlem great again, guys. Trump says stuff like that. He's becoming Trump. Isn't that such a terrible thing? If you're a liberal, I guess. Yeah. that's the funny thing about it. When he says that, I know what they're going for, but in my mind, I'm thinking he really is trying to make Harlem great again. Like it's they're saying it as if it's a bad thing, but is it though? I mean, he's not necessarily doing anything wrong yet. Now, if he starts going down that path, of course, then it's like, okay, well, now he needs to be stopped. But I think the icing on the cake for me, like after all of this is said and done, the icing on the cake that just sort of pushes it over the edge is like they're trying to really force this storyline. Is Sugar comes up and he's like, she's here. He's like, tell Claire to go home. And I'm like, oh, God. Now you're just really shoving it down our throats that he might possibly turn down the dark side. It's like, oh, he just told Claire to go home. Like, Claire is the last thing. That's the last straw. He's clearly gone to the dark side now. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it is bad that he doesn't want to see Claire, but at the same time, I don't think he's in that position right now. I don't know. It just seems like they're so trying to force this that it's almost a little too much. And that was just, like I said, that was kind of the icing on the cake for me. But all in all, the season, it was a great season. It was a lot of fun. It was very exciting. I thought they really did a great job with the characters, making good decisions. Of course, Luke at the end, was that a good decision to take over the club, all that stuff? It was weird that he said at one point, nah, you should burn it to the ground. The next scene, he's taking it over. So I don't really know what the idea is. I mean, I know what his plan is in his mind, but why would he say that and then immediately take it over? I don't know. But I think this is something that will either be tackled a little bit in the Defenders season 2 or come Luke Cage season 3. I think we'll see a bit more, I guess, where they're planning on taking the story. If we're going to see him sort of go down a dark path and have to be brought back, or are we going to see him just using this position to try to take on another bad guy? I don't know. But I'm glad that they did sort of take this season in a new direction, someplace that I wasn't quite expecting. It's been a lot of fun. So, yeah, all in all, great season 2. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Defender season 2 and Luke Cage season 3 has in store. But next up is Iron Fist season 2, which I know a lot of people didn't like, and obviously Iron Fist got canceled on Netflix after season 2, so is it as bad as everybody says? Am I still going to find some part of it that I enjoyed like I did with season 1? We'll see. But yeah, so that's my next stop, so I'll see you guys there. But as for this one, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this season overall? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Luke Cage and further Marvel Netflix shows, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.